Caitlin Clark showed off her golfing skills and participated in the Annika Pro-Am tournament for the second year in a row. But she wasn't alone. Welcome in, everyone. We've got a fun and very human moment from the WNBA offseason that fans can't stop talking about. Caitlin Clark traded the hardwood for the fairways and teed it up at the Annika Pro-Am again this year, bringing some of that competitive fire to one of the most popular crossover events in sports. And the best part? She had company. Indiana Fever standouts Sophie Cunningham and Lexi Hull were on the course with her, not as playing partners, but as guest caddies, bringing the team chemistry we're used to seeing on the court to a completely different setting. What started as a feel-good appearance turned into a viral moment thanks to a simple, hilarious mistake and a quick-witted correction that had WNBA fans laughing right along with them. The Annika Pro-Am is a showcase where golf meets pop culture, bringing together LPGA pros and recognizable names from across sports and entertainment. Clark's presence carries major star power, and she handled it like a veteran, not only taking in the experience, but sharing it with the people who've been in the trenches with her all year. Having Hull and Cunningham by her side offered a rare window into team camaraderie during the WNBA break. It's one thing to see teammates fist bump after big plays. It's another to see them walking a golf course, swapping jokes, and offering support while the cameras are rolling and the phones are out. The event's official Instagram account, the Annika PGA, helped set the scene for fans. The page posted about the special guest caddies in attendance, calling out the appearances from Sophie Cunningham and Lexi Hull, alongside American soccer legend Brianna Scurry and NASCAR's Carson Hocevar. It was a star-studded Pro-Am lineup with a lot of crossover appeal, and that's exactly what makes this event such a hit. It draws in viewers who might normally be locked into WNBA highlights, NWSL storylines, or NASCAR updates, and gives them something fresh and fun to follow in the offseason. For the WNBA, this kind of visibility is gold. It keeps players in the headlines and gives fans a reason to check in, even when there aren't games on the schedule. With all that buzz, Sophie Cunningham did what most of us would do. She shared it to her story. She passed along the post to her 1.3 million followers and added a caption to match the moment. That caption read, in all caps, and with all the energy of a sideline celebration, 4. The meaning was clear. The intention was perfect. The spelling, however, wasn't. Golfers know the warning shout is 4, not 4. And that subtle difference turned into a very public, very funny teaching moment that only teammates can pull off. Enter Caitlin Clark. True to form, she knew exactly how to handle it, with humor, timing, and an eye for the viral moment. Clark took a screenshot of Sophie's story, reposted it, and added her own caption. Yeah, clearly, we have a lot to learn about golf, followed by 3 laughing emojis. Then came the friendly tap on the shoulder, the kind of nudge only a teammate can deliver. It's for Bud, Sophie, Sham. That sign-off, Bud, made the whole thing land just right. It wasn't a dig, it was playful, affectionate, and very on-brand for a team that's built its identity as much on personality as performance. Sophie didn't retreat or try to quietly fix the post. She did the opposite. She doubled down on the fun, took a selfie, and answered the correction with a grin. 4? Yeah, IDK, she wrote, owning the moment and letting fans in on the joke. That quick response told you everything about the vibe within this group. In the WNBA, team unity gets tested constantly. By travel, by competition, by injuries, by the relentless pace of the season. The best teams know how to breathe, laugh, and stay loose together. And that little 4-4 exchange captured it in a nutshell. Fans loved it because it felt real. It was relatable. It was authentic WNBA news in the offseason, delivered with humor and personality. It also came with meaningful context. Caitlin, Sophie, and Lexi weren't just off-season buddies playing to the crowd. They were crucial pieces of a fever squad that fought through one of the toughest years any team could experience and still pushed their way into the playoff semifinals. That run wasn't built on good fortune. was built on resilience and leadership during a season when multiple players weren't available for stretches. The fact that they could bring levity to a golf course, after all, that says a lot about how they're wired and where their chemistry comes from. When you rewind the season, the story is demanding. Clark's debut year in the pros came with massive expectations, intense national attention, and the kind of defensive pressure that follows every possession. On top of all that, she battled through real injuries, quadriceps discomfort, ankle issues that flared and needed managing, and a groin problem that required rest. All told, Clark's availability was limited, and she was held to just 13 games. That's sobering for a player who thrives on rhythm and reps. Still, when she was on the floor, you saw why she's such a gravitational force in women's basketball. Her range stretched defenses, her pace pushed transition opportunities, and her passing vision created easy looks for teammates. But her absence created a ripple effect that forced the Fever to reinvent themselves on the fly. Then came the blow to Sophie Cunningham. After logging 30 games and setting a tone with her physical two-way play, she tore the MCL in her right knee. The diagnosis meant surgery in August and the kind of recovery process that tests even the toughest competitors. Cunningham isn't just a scorer or a shooter. She's a tone setter. She's the player who stares down a run from the other team and answers with grit. Losing her meant the Fever lost a voice that keeps the temperature right on the floor. Injuries like that aren't just physical obstacles, they're emotional ones too. Teams have to find their voice again when a leader is sidelined. Amid those absences, Lexi Hull's steadiness took on a new dimension. She kept answering the bell, night after night, matchup after matchup. Without any significant setbacks, the result was a breakout in reliability and production. She averaged 7.2 points and 4.3 rebounds per game, and beyond the numbers, she brought a consistency that coaches covet. She kept possessions alive on the glass, ran the floor hard, and made timely cuts that opened lanes. On a team adjusting to constant change, Hull became a dependable pillar. Fans will remember how this trio, affectionately referred to by some as Tres Leches, anchored the online conversation around the Fever, even when half the roster seemed to be in street clothes. Their social presence felt like an extension of their on-court chemistry. It was honest, upbeat, and often self-aware, characteristics that carry weight in the modern game where community matters as much as box scores. Together, they helped sell not just the brand of the Indiana Fever, but the personality of the WNBA, keeping highlights, clips, and little moments of downtime threaded into one steady stream fans wanted to follow. Zooming out, the 2024 campaign was a demanding one across the league. You didn't need a magnifying glass to see injuries pile up, reshaping rotations and putting pressure on young cores. Beyond Indiana's own hurdles, names like Brianna Scurry and Carson Hochevar popping up at the Anika Pro-Am underscored something important about the broader sports landscape. Today's athletes are building bridges. They're showing up in one another's spaces, strengthening the shared audience, and giving fans common ground. And when you consider how injuries interrupt seasons, those connections help keep momentum strong. Elsewhere in women's hoops and around the WNBA, players such as Damiris Dantas, Sydney Colson, Ari McDonald, and Chloe Bibby also navigated injuries during the year, a reminder of how relentlessly physical the calendar can be. That context isn't a footnote. It's a reality check that highlights just how impressive deep playoff runs become when availability is uncertain. Back to Indiana's core, the rehab storylines now sit front and center. For Clark, this break is about smart training, targeted recovery, and building durability. The focus is on strengthening the areas stressed most by pro-level demands, a strong foundation in the lower body, muscle balance to protect against strains, and the kind of core stability that translates to cleaner landings and sharper cuts. Every update on her progress draws major attention because the upside is obvious. A healthy Caitlin Clark changes the geometry of the floor. Defenses stretch, help rotations get longer, and teammates find more airspace to operate. It's not hype. It's what happens when a playmaker with her vision and gravity is fully available. Sophie Cunningham's path is different, but equally significant. Coming back from a knee surgery after an MCL tear is a grind. It means being patient when you want to sprint. It means trusting a careful progression, range of motion, strength, stability, controlled on-court movement, and then contact. Seeing her out there at the Annika Pro-Am event, walking and working as a guest caddy, is quietly encouraging. It signals good mobility, good energy, and a positive mindset, all critical markers for an athlete turning the corner. Cunningham's return would reintroduce a vocal leader who sets defensive tone and brings sharp perimeter shooting, an ideal complement to Clark's playmaking. As for Lexi Hull, the offseason is an opportunity to build on a foundation of health and reliability. Players who stay available in tough seasons often come back with expanded roles. For Hull, that can mean sharpening catch and shoot volume from deep, adding layers to her handle to attack closeouts, and getting even more efficient around the rim. With a healthy core around her, her spacing value grows. On a roster with a high-usage playmaker like Clark, consistent floor balance is essential, and Hull's skill set fits perfectly into that frame. There's also the business side, which always shapes the next chapter. As things stand today, Clark is under contract through 2026, anchoring the Fever's long-term plan. It's exactly where you'd expect a franchise-caliber guard to be, locked in and central to the blueprint. The bigger question revolves around how the front office keeps the right people around her. Retaining leaders matters, securing shooting matters, keeping defenders who communicate and execute matters. Cunningham has the intangibles you want in a veteran wing: confidence, toughness, and a willingness to take on tough matchups. Hull has the profile of a winning role player: versatility, durability, and a game that scales well next to stars. Decisions in the months ahead will shape how Indiana leverages those qualities in pursuit of sustained playoff presence. WNBA free agency and roster building strategy always tell the truth about a team's ambitions, and the Fever have a window worth maximizing. None of this exists in a vacuum. What took place at the Annika Pro-Am wasn't just a casual appearance. It had a PR ripple effect that matters in today's sports media ecosystem. Caitlin Clark golf highlights, social clips of teammates ribbing each other, and friendly cross-sport collisions with LPGA personalities bring in fresh eyes. Golf fans who might have only a passing familiarity with the WNBA get a quick hit of Clark's personality and the Fever's chemistry. WNBA fans get a playful off-season update that humanizes their favorites. The crossover works both ways, and it's why Pro-Am events like this have become such valuable platforms. The 4-4 exchange also showed something that resonates beyond the box score. It reminded people that this is a group that communicates openly, even when the stakes are low. Clark's correction was lighthearted but precise. Cunningham's response was self-aware and gracious. Hull's presence tied the moment back to the team's identity, with Tres Leches fans chiming in across comments threads. It's the kind of vibe that keeps people invested between games, turns follower counts into engaged communities. In an era where visibility is currency, moments like these translate directly to the growth of the league. On the performance side, the Fever's push into the playoff semifinals, despite a season defined by absences, earned them respect across the WNBA. That run served as a proof point for what's possible when culture holds. You saw role players expand their games. You saw the bench step in and deliver tough minutes. You saw a game plan tailored to survival and then growth. The dream, of course, is what comes next when everyone is available. A fully healthy Caitlin Clark changes the ceiling. A fully cleared Sophie Cunningham restores intensity and balance on the perimeter. A confident Lexi Hull slots in as a connector, the piece that makes lineups click. The path forward now leans on patience and planning. Recovery timelines can't be rushed. Smart strength work, careful conditioning, and ramp-up schedules will dictate when this group can go full speed again. Meanwhile, the front office evaluates fit, the coaching staff analyzes tape, and the players stay locked in. The WNBA season is unforgiving, and the difference between a good team and a great one is often continuity. That's why keeping this core together matters. You want the inside jokes to keep flowing. You want the defensive calls to become second nature. You want the late-game trust to harden into muscle memory. Zooming back to the golf course for a moment, it's striking how events like the Annika Pro-Am act like a mirror. They reflect who athletes are outside of the televised moments. Clark brings competitiveness everywhere she goes, even while laughing it off when something goes sideways. Cunningham brings energy and honesty, even when the spotlight catches a misstep. Hull brings steadiness, the kind you can feel whether she's wearing a jersey or a caddy bib. It's not about the perfect picture. It's about the connection that comes through when the moment is unfiltered. Social media helps, of course. The Thiana Kalp gay post put the spotlight on a diverse set of stars, and Clark's follow-up story amplified the reach. The Caitlin Clark Instagram story had the tone of a friend reminding another friend how the game works, and Sophie's reply had the tone of a veteran willing to shrug, laugh, and learn. In an instant, a lighthearted mix-up became a piece of shareable WNBA content, a bright spot in the offseason that kept fans scrolling, liking, and commenting. These are the little pieces that stitch together into bigger narratives once the season tips. From an audience perspective, there's also a reason this resonated widely. Fans appreciate personality that doesn't feel manufactured. They want WNBA news updates that show the whole picture. Competitive fire, yes, but also humor and humility. This moment delivered that. It gave everyone a line to quote, a lesson to acknowledge, and a reminder that even pros are still learning in spaces beyond their specialties. It's the kind of mainstream, SEO-friendly sports content. Caitlin Clark Golf, Indiana Fever offseason, Annika Pro-Am highlights that brings in casual viewers and gives diehards something to celebrate. Looking ahead, the Fever's checklist is clear. Get healthy. Build around the strengths that surfaced in adversity. Reinforce the roster where needed. Keep the vibe that made the Tres Leches trio a fan favorite. And put it all together once the schedule gets real again. The blueprint isn't complicated. It's about getting Clark's dynamic game back into full flight, integrating Cunningham's presence and voice, and leveraging Hull's reliability to stabilize rotations. Combine that with smart development, defensive commitment, and a renewed emphasis on late-game execution, and you have a team ready to chase an even deeper post-season run. For now, you take the wins where you get them. A positive rehab update, a smooth practice return, a lighthearted viral clip that makes everyone smile. Those small steps and small moments matter in the march toward opening night. When they're handled with the kind of grace and humor we saw at the Annika Pro-Am, you can be confident they're heading in the right direction. All told, the takeaway from this week is simple. Caitlin Clark's return to the Annika Pro-Am delivered exactly what fans wanted: visibility, personality, and a chance to see a rising star connect with her teammates in a different arena. The inclusion of Sophie Cunningham and Lexi Hull as guest caddies gave the event a WNBA flavor that played perfectly online. The 4A correction, the immediate response, and the shared laugh are already among the off-season's most memorable highlights. And beneath the fun, the message is steady. This group is aligned. They're supporting each other through recovery. They know how to keep things light when the grind is heavy, and they're focused on coming back stronger. As the WNBA offseason continues, keep an eye on the rehab checkpoints and the roster decisions that will shape the Fever's next push. Watch for updates on Clark's readiness and Cunningham's knee, along with continued development from Hull. Monitor how the front office navigates contracts and continuity heading into 2025 and 2026, and enjoy the off-court stops along the way, whether that's a charity event, a community appearance, or another cross-sport moment that keeps fans dialed in. It all adds up. One last note on the human side, because it's worth emphasizing. In a season where they powered through adversity and still reached the playoff semifinals, this team didn't just earn results, they earned fans. they earned attention the right way, by competing, by being accountable, and by showing everyone exactly who they are. That's why a 2-syllable golf term turned into a full day of WNBA highlights on the timeline. That's why the Indiana Fever keep trending in the offseason. It's because people are invested in the journey from rehab room to practice court to Pro-Am fairway. We'll keep tracking every step. Caitlin Clark updates, Sophie Cunningham's recovery, Lexi Hull's continued growth, and all the WNBA news that matters. If you're here for the combination of on-court analysis and off-court moments that make this league special, you're in the right place. Drop your thoughts on the 4-4 moment. Tell us which off-season updates you're watching closely, and let us know how you're feeling about the Fever's chances next season. And as always, thanks for spending part of your day with us. The next chapter is already on its way, and it's going to be a fun one for Indiana Fever fans and WNBA followers everywhere.